What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Welcome to the next installment of the Local Marketing Institute Questions and Answers Live with our special guest, Tricia Clements from Your Biz Watchdog.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I totally failed right there. I didn't have the soundboard out because we needed this. Hold on. Oh, I so fail. And Tricia's here.
There you go, clapping. Okay, next slide, please, brother. All right, so how can you get in contact with anybody? With Greg Gifford, my fabulous co-host with the amazing beard and also the best soundboard in the internet. You can reach him. He is with Searchlands Digital, and you can reach him on Twitter at Greg Gifford. We're also joined by, again, Tricia Clements, Your Biz Watchdog, and you can reach her at Your Biz Watchdog. And of course, your host, Ben Fisher. I'm with Steady Demand. You can reach me at any time at The Social Dude. And feel free, please join us on Facebook at the Local Marketing Institute Connect. I don't know. I think we're up somewhere around 2,000 members or something these days, but it's a great place to connect with other people who are knowledgeable in the industry and are there actually to really share news and information with you and help you out if you have any issues. And then finally, you can please subscribe to the Local Marketing Institute podcast, Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio. We're everywhere, and we're anywhere that you want to be. All right, let's get rocking and rolling here. And Tricia,
hey. Hello. From Atlanta.
Good friend, longtime participant of Local Marketing Institute. We just had to rope you in. Super smart. And, I think cool. Cool. Yes. I would love for you to kind of go over your background, how you got into the local SEO space in the first place.
Sure.
And tell us a little bit about what you do.
So for actually 23 years, I worked as a legal assistant at a real estate attorney's office here in Atlanta. And then I started up my own business and started focusing on social media. And at that time, I was doing it for pet businesses because I've got my wonderful rescue dog, Moxie, and I love all animals and especially helping the pets. So then I started seeing how my clients were really, their Google business profile, at that time, Google My Business, was really helping them a lot from what I was doing in social media, because I kind of did it as a little bit of an add-on. And I noticed how the impact it was having. And I just decided to switch and niche down to just focusing on their Google business and not social media. So I don't do social media for clients anymore. And that's kind of how I got into it. And right now I work with individual clients, but mostly I work with agencies and do white label work for agencies for their Google business profile and work with them for that.
Awesome. So you just know a little bit about Google business profiles then.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Very cool. And excellent. Well, cool. Thank you for that background. Everybody here, follow Tricia, connect with her, get to know her, All right. With that, I think that we can just start diving into the questions.
Which means you're up first.
Alrighty, I'll do that.
And that question is, what is your best advice what is your advice for best practices when trying to rank a GMB with two locations in different cities with the same toll-free number? Additional details. They have different addresses in different cities and states, but the same toll-free number. Advice with GMB citations, data aggregators. Thank you.
Ouch. Gotta nest a bunch of questions together.
One question at a time, please, when you're entering questions into the widget.
All right. Oh, gosh. Excuse me. I'll be right back. There's a fun part with doing all this stuff live, right? Okay. Advice for best practices when trying to rank a GMB, GBP, with two locations in different cities with the same toll-free number. Well, first of all, I guess I have to say that whether it had a local phone number or a toll-free number on both Google business profiles is not going to affect ranking at all. So, however, guidance from Google. Now, this is not necessarily a rule, by the way, it's guidance. Guidance is that a Google business profile should have a unique local phone number. So what you might want to do is that if you're using a toll-free number, is you might just want to get a tracking number, and have that tracking number go to your toll-free number, and it'd be a local phone number, totally within the guidelines. You're not doing anything shady or anything like that. You shouldn't get suspended, of course. Yeah.
You actually should do call tracking on GBP. It's best practice to do so.
1,000%. 1,000%. I mean, I get it. You want people to see the toll-free number. And if you've got a vanity toll-free number, that's even more different. But yeah, that's what I would say with that question. They have different addresses, different cities and states, same toll-free number, advice with GMB, citations, and data aggregators. Okay, so this is a pretty common question. It does dovetail very nicely into the first question. And that is that it used to be, we're talking many, many years ago, which equals 3 in internet time, that having your information 100% consistent between your Google business profile and all of the data aggregators and all of the citations, basically, be completely consistent. These days, not so much. Google's a little bit smarter than that, and they also know that that can be used to kind of game the system. So what I would say is your information that is in your Google business profile should be on your website 1,000%. It should also align with major citations. And when I'm speaking in major citation, I'm talking about LinkedIn, I'm talking about Better Business Bureau, not talking about Facebook. There's actually not that many. It's a very, very short list. And then everything else is about user experience. So in other words, if I go to Angie's List and I see a toll-free number, well, if I call that toll-free number, I'm still going to get to the right place, right? And if I go to that Angie's List and it's a local number and I call it and I still get to the same place, it's a good experience. So just think about it from the experience standpoint. Is it going to confuse users if you have different phone numbers in different locations? I'm going to throw that over to Greg. You're jumping at the bit. Go for it.
My big question would immediately be, why are you still using a toll-free number? Nobody needs toll-free numbers anymore. It's free to call on mobile phones pretty much everywhere in the world. So there literally is no need for a toll-free number. You can have a local phone number or multiple local phone numbers that still all ring to the same call center or do whatever. But typically a local area code phone number, and again, specifically in this example, it's different cities, different states. So it doesn't matter that you have the same phone number there, but why? Put a local phone number on there so that that person in state 1 or that person in state 2 sees their own local area code. And it doesn't, depending on what the vertical is, sometimes there's a lot of spammy lead gen stuff. And if you've got an 800 number versus everybody else that shows up in the pack or in the map or in your searches has local numbers, you kind of stand out and look odd for having a toll-free number. So like Ben said, user experience all the way, and it's a better user experience to have that local phone number.
Yeah, and Stephen Asman actually just said he thinks that toll-free is good if you're a national company, not so good for local. And that's absolutely true. Again, it's about user experience. So, and Tricia, what do you have to say about this topic?
I would agree with Stephen. I think that toll-free is better for national. But again, as Greg said, most people have their cell phones and you don't need the toll-free number anymore. I can't remember the last time I looked up, and even if I go to a site that has a toll-free number, I call the local number. So, hey.
Rock on. All right. So Greg, a user's question for you. This one comes in from Boyd. Okay. So how does the amount of your Google Ads daily limit affect your number of clicks? For businesses with low monetary commitment in Google AdWords, how can they compete with businesses that pay a large amount?
That is an excellent question. Realistically, depending on the vertical, you may not be able to compete if you have a low budget and you're going against people that have a big budget. For example, we work with a couple of personal injury attorneys that spend upwards of 50. One of them spends 75 grand a month. If you're a personal injury attorney in the same market and you're spending 4 grand a month, the answer is you're not going to compete with those guys that are dropping 50K, period. What you have to do is think about, like, the original question, how does the amount of money limit your number of clicks? It is called pay per click. You are paying per click. So if you have a limited budget, you have a limited number of clicks that you're able to buy. So knowing that, the thing you have to do is be really strategic. Those guys that are dropping 50, 60, 100 grand. I mean, some people drop $1 million a month on paid search if they're massive companies. Yep. You have to be strategic if you know that you're up against competitors that have a much larger budget, much deeper pockets than you. They're throwing everything at the wall. They're going for bottom of the funnel, middle of the funnel, top of the funnel, branded stuff. They're going after conquest stuff, trying to go after competitors. They're doing remarketing. They're doing display. They're doing Facebook. They're doing Bing. They're doing all of these different things. And you have a limited budget. So what you need to do is, most likely, if you're in that situation, you're going to need to engage with the professional, whether it's getting PPC consulting or whether it's having somebody do your management. You're not going to be able to compete with a limited budget if you're doing it yourself and you are not an absolute expert, because what you're going to have to do in a nutshell is figure out what the best way to spend that limited budget is. You can't do all 15 of the things that the guy with the big budget is doing. You're probably going to need to concentrate on bottom of the funnel stuff where you're running an ad and the purpose of that ad is to get somebody to call you or chat or fill out a form or email you immediately. You don't want to do that branding stuff. You don't want to do that early funnel discovery stuff because you're just blowing money at that point. You've got to do something that works, because then you can scale it up. If you're targeting that bottom of the funnel stuff and you start getting more conversions with the limited spend that you have, then you've got more money because you're selling more of whatever product or service you're doing. And then you can scale it up and get to be one of the bigger guys. But in the meantime, you got to be efficient. One of the really cool things that we do with a lot of our clients is when people do have a limited budget and we do this analysis, we're going to do a lot of competitive research to figure out what those competitors are doing. Because if you look and see what their strategy is, you can see that maybe there's a weak point in there of maybe there are some keywords and they're just going for all the stuff that is super competitive, the big head terms that are not quite, there's a lot of traffic for them, a lot of competition, but maybe you could go for stuff that's a little bit longer tail and more specific that will probably convert at a higher percentage, but there's a lot less volume. But because there's less volume, those guys aren't going after it. So then there's less competition. And if there's less competition, it's cheaper clicks for you. And you're going after things you don't have to even compete with them on. Or look at what they're doing, because Bing ads are incredibly successful and people are always roll their eyes and go, Bing, that's stupid. But the Microsoft Ad Network serves a crap ton of people and nobody realizes that. It's the default ad network for all PCs that go out. And so anybody that doesn't switch over and change and they're staying on either Edge or whatever this, I don't even know because I hate Microsoft computers, but whatever the Microsoft browsers are, if they're not going to switch browsers and they stay on that browser and they don't switch off of Bing as the default search engine, they're getting served by Microsoft ads. All the ads that show up on DuckDuckGo, Yahoo, everywhere else, powered by Microsoft Ad Network, are all the stuff that shows up inside of Outlook at Microsoft Ad Network. In fact, all the ads that show up in any Microsoft products, Microsoft Ad Network. So you have a massive reach, and typically a lot of people won't advertise there. So it's a lot cheaper and a lot more effective. So you can think about things like that as well. But for sure, don't get distracted by display or retargeting or any social stuff. Be really efficient and very targeted with that spend, and you'll do okay. You still won't be able to compete, but the goal is to find the right things to do that get you results so that you then have more money to spend and you can scale up over time.
So
what do you think?
Greg, I only have one thing to say about all of that.
What's that?
When are you going to load a preach it?
Oh, I got
sound to your soundboard.
We need to start. I don't know where I need to. Okay. I'm going to start just keeping a little note here to the side of like, I need a preach it, brother, or something like that.
Or a mic drop or something like that.
Yeah.
Because you just took the sales out of
there.
anything that I could ever say. So, so all I'm going to say is what Greg said. What do you got? You got anything on that, Tricia?
No, what Greg said. Hey.
Okay.
Maybe we just need a what Greg said sound effect.
Yeah.
Next one's for Tricia, actually. We're going to put the guest in the hot seat.
All right.
So throw her the question, dude. Let's see if we can stump her.
All righty. So this question was actually asked by Tricia Clements.
Oh, yeah.
So
it's this one. So, okay.
Yes, it was. No, we're not. But we are. But Tricia is going to basically go ahead and answer her own question.
I will answer my own question because I asked it and I got an answer.
Right.
So the question is, how do you verify a Google business profile that is an event, not an actual business, because you can have event profiles. And this is not talking about the events that you list within your profile. So it's not that. This is an actual event. So let's say, for example, I work with the Rescue Dog Games here in Atlanta, and they're a yearly event. So first off, it has to be something that is consistent, and it can't be like what's their first annual. They have to been around a couple of years. I'm not sure the exact date. I'd say at least when you're coming up on year 3, you could definitely try it. So for example, this one is something that happens in Piedmont Park in Atlanta every year. And I can't get an address verified for Piedmont Park. So what I'm going to do is go in, ask for it at the address, have postcards sent twice. I won't get it, and then go in and ask for a manual verification on that. But the main thing is that you can't do like your first annual. And I'm not even sure, Ben, what are your thoughts on this? What year should they start? I'm thinking at least around year 3, they should ask.
Yeah. Year 3 sounds about right.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. We kind of got a little waylaid because of COVID in 2020. So we're doing it this year.
Very cool.
And I've had that question come up by other people as well. And then I had it myself. So
excellent. Well, awesome. I'm sure that question is definitely going to help people.
That was excellent.
All right.
All right, my friend, you're up next.
All right. What do we got this time?
The question for you. This one comes from Chris, who joined late just a minute ago. So, Chris, you showed up just in time to get your answer. Yeah. Why does Google lie and say you only got a rating when I know they left a lengthy review? And then he said it took them nearly a week to review the client's review. There were 2 links in the review, one to my domain and one to the domain the review was about. Also mine still. I'm not sure what that might mean. So, Chris, if you want to clarify in the chat what you meant by that there at the end, but Ben, you can probably go in and start answering that.
Yeah, because this is unfortunately, this is gonna have to pull apart this grilled cheese sandwich is what we're gonna have to do. All right, so let's answer the first piece of the question. Let me see what. Okay.
He said this was asked last week. I think the links were out of order.
Yeah.
Technically, actually, you're not allowed to have links you're not allowed to have links in your reviews, basically, is what it comes down to. Yeah. Okay. So we got this one last week. So why don't we move on from this one, Greg?
All right. So the next one is who's up next?
We're going to send this back to Tricia.
Oh, we are going to send it.
Yeah, it's this one.
Oh, it's the long one.
This one.
No, this is the stump the guest question.
Oh, yeah. Now you go ahead and you take it, Greg. Just do it.
Which one is it?
Wait, you want me to answer it or you want me to ask her the question?
Oh, okay. So let's see.
We'll see.
Do you want, let's say, all right, do we want to have fun with this one? And do we want to read the entire question?
Yes, I do.
First? All right.
Yes, I do.
Do it, man.
Okay. The actual question is see below for longer question. It is complex. So sorry, you didn't phrase your question in the form of a question. So we're moving on. I'm kidding. Okay. Additional details. Let's grab a beverage, kick back and relax. It's going to take a bit to read this. What's in a name, said Shakespeare. Could I get more clarification about my name? I have been using my personal name for all social platforms, GMB, and websites. Fernacane.com. I am an experienced small individual advertising boutique for lawyers and dentists. I was focused on getting a job in marketing using LinkedIn as an individual, but have recently rebranded with a new business name to go back to getting clients, canewebmarketing.com. I know with local SEO, you have to have consistency in contact info. What name should I use on Facebook and Instagram personal? And on LinkedIn, I am an individual seeking a job in marketing. Question, for GMB, would I be using Kane Web Marketing - Ferna Kane? Or is that combination more for real estate? Question, I used to use the category marketing consultant in GMB, but that is no longer my primary keyword. I am niching it more now. And my primary keyword on my homepage is, hold on, I got to get a drink. That's how you know this is a long one. My primary keyword on my homepage is law firm marketing Toronto. Last question. So what category would I use on GMB? Marketing agency? I don't employ teams, but I assemble creative teams to do offline or online marketing, SEO, social, and so on. So to pull apart the grilled cheese, the main first question.
Remember each question.
Right.
You're going to have to help me with this.
The main first question, what name should I use on Facebook and Instagram personal?
Okay. On your personal account, you use your personal name. Then you will want to have your business name on a business page. If you also want to do a group, I know they have a lot more interaction than pages tend to do. You might want to set up a group as well. But individual, use your personal name. Business, use your business name. The same on LinkedIn. I think they asked about LinkedIn. You want to have your individual personal profile be your name. And then you've got business pages on LinkedIn as well. And then the question also went to their Google business profile.
Yep. So that one is, to boil it down for GMB, would I be using Kane Web Marketing - Ferna Kane, or is that combination more for real estate?
No, so that's not, that's for professionals. I think, I can't remember the exact name of it. We've got like real estate practitioners, real estate, financial attorneys, stuff like that. So no, you just want to use your business name because otherwise it would be considered stuffing, and that's not, you need to have it exactly how your business name is. And as far as the category, you can't select your category from what you want. You have to use what Google offers you. And I've got, Plepper has a list of those, so I put those in there. And I don't remember what she said she wanted to use, but
she didn't really say. She said my primary, marketing consultant is what was being used, but the primary keyword on the homepage is now law firm marketing Toronto. So what category would be used in GMB? Your
original marketing firm, because law firm marketing is not an option yet in Google Business.
Never will be.
And yes, exactly. So that's what you're going to just be stuck with. You're stuck with what Google gives you to choose from.
And that answer from our guest was money.
Ta-da!
Did I get all of them?
You did. Totally.
Yeah. At a high level too, you don't have to have your primary category in your Google profile match what you're optimizing as your primary keyword on your homepage. Yeah. That's not a requirement whatsoever. And actually, fairly often, we do just the opposite. And the primary category in GBP doesn't match the primary keyword we're going after on the homepage for our client, because you got to be strategic with that primary category, since it carries a little bit more weight or value in the algorithm. So like if I'm dealing with a Ford dealer in Dallas and there's 20 Ford stores in Dallas, it's the densest Ford market, I for sure want to have Ford dealer as my primary category because that's their biggest point of competition. But a Ford dealer in the middle of nowhere of Wyoming, that there's not another Ford dealer for 150 miles in any direction. I don't want to have Ford dealer as their primary category because they're the only option for like a 250-mile radius. The math doesn't work on that, but you get what I mean. But they're the only option for Ford dealers. So they're inherently automatically going to show up for Ford dealer. So in that case, those guys would have used car dealer as their primary category because that's their biggest point of competition. So don't fall into the trap, or just don't think the way that you have to have your GBP primary category match the primary phrase that you're targeting with optimization on your site.
Correct. And Google, believe it or not, understands the taxonomy between category and services.
All right. So next question is free. Wait, no, it is. Yeah, it's Ben's question.
Yeah.
So we have answered this in the past.
Yes.
We actually have a couple of questions today. If we get to all of them before we go to the live stuff, we have a couple of questions that we have done in the past, but they keep coming up. So we're going to continue to answer them just to make sure everybody gets them. But this one is, How do you verify a Google Business profile if the current address and phone number are wrong?
Oh, yes. And so this is a good one. And it's unfortunately hit or miss. But
so does that mean?
It depends.
Yeah, it does. So the general rule of thumb is that when you reach out, because you're going to have to reach out to support on this one, right? You can't claim. You can attempt the claim process, send a postcard, and then contact support. But in this scenario directly, if you already know that the address and the phone number are wrong, but the name is correct, and hopefully the website URL is correct. Make sure the address is on the website. I'm not even going to go into service area based business. And then go ahead and contact support. Tell them the situation, and it's an old address or whatever the case may be, and then they will walk you through the verification process. Now, the it depends part is that if none of the information is matching, which not really, it's not very common that this is going to happen, because the name is usually going to match. But if there's no website and it's just the name, sometimes they're going to want to make sure that you have an affiliation with the business. And that's where things can get extremely tricky, because now we're talking about proof and documentation. Do you have do you have a utility bill from the old location? Does something, because you're going to have to prove it. So that's really basically it in a nutshell. When it comes to a service area based business, now this is where things can get really, really sticky. Service area based businesses are hard to claim from the knowledge panel in the first place, because you can't claim them directly from the knowledge panel. You actually have to go into your Google Business Profile Manager. I can't believe I'm saying these today without stumbling, Greg. What's up with that?
It's starting to sink in a little bit.
It is. It's slowly starting to sink in. It's only been 5 months. So with the service area based business profile, what you're going to have to do is add it to your Google Business Profile Manager first. Just by adding a business, you want to type in the information exactly as you see it on Google. So in other words, the name primarily. You enter your website URL, category, all of that nice stuff. And then you're going to go ahead and put in the, it's going to ask you for a verification address. Now, you're going to put in the new address at this point, by the way. So as soon as you go ahead and add this, it's going to usually get marked as a duplicate right away. Once it gets marked as a duplicate, you can see when you click on See Duplicate, and it's going to go out and it's going to bring you to the profile that you were just at and that you wanted, right? So now you can go ahead and start the claim process, get a postcard sent to yourself to the right address, and then bingo. Now the profile is yours once you verify, as long as you don't get suspended, of course. I just had to go through one of these. They're such a pain. They're really, really, they're the bane of any existence for support.
Yeah.
But and if it messes up, then you have to go through support, and they never understand what's going on. But that's it. That's the really long way of answering that question. And what I'm going to say is, Tricia, what you got on that?
Yeah, I would agree. I've had some that I've worked with trying to do that. And if things don't match and reaching out to support, you kind of just get into a vicious little circle there. And part of that depends on how much, when you're claiming it, how much information is there. I had one that the guy set it up in one state and moved to another state. And like the only thing that was right was the name. And at that point, I mean, like it was just a vicious circle with support. So we're just like, let's just do another one in another state and move on. We finally got the other one kind of permanently closed and off. So it depends. I mean, each individual situation is going to be a little bit different.
So wait a minute, you're saying, Greg?
It depends.
and something to keep in mind too, if you do have to connect with support and jump through hoops and send documentation, yeah, it sucks. Yeah, it's frustrating, but you got to realize where they're coming from, because there's so much rampant spam out there and so many dirty cheaters. They're just trying to ensure that you're legitimate and you really should have control and things really should be the way they are. So just realize you may have to jump through some hoops and go through a little bit of a headache, but they're just doing it because they want to make sure. I mean, you wouldn't want it to be really easy for somebody else to come in and claim your profile and steal it and change the info and point to their website instead. So you got to kind of take it with a grain of salt and understand the why behind all the hoops you're jumping through.
Yep, exactly. So, and with that, why not? Let's go ahead and answer another question that gets brought up all the time. And Greg, this one's for you, buddy. All right. So, be honest with us, Greg. Don't hold anything back, okay? All right. Don't hold anything back. I mean, we all know that, doing EXIF data and geotagging on images is extremely worth it as far as a local SEO activity, right?
Not as worth it as meta keywords, bro.
So true. Damn, how did I forget about that? And, of course, leaving review responses that have keywords.
Of course. That's the secret sauce. Don't share that, though.
Yeah, I know. Keywords in all the things, right? So what are your thoughts, though? Because this is the granddaddy of them all, kind of. What are your thoughts on building links directly to your Google Business Profile listing? CID link building? How about PBNs?
Hold on. Let me mute my mic while I vomit into my trash can. That's my answer. Don't do them. Why? A, won't matter. B, why waste the effort of link building to link build to your GBP if it's not going to matter? Link build to your site where it is going to matter. Same thing with CID link building. Like, come on, like everybody looks for the next cool, hacky silver bullet. Just do legitimate. Like I went off on somebody on a Facebook group the other day or yesterday, and people kind of thought I was being a dick, but I'm like, look, guys, somebody's like, what about buying links this way or buying links here, buying links here? And I was like, Jesus Christ, guys, how about we just do legitimate link building and stop trying to cheat? Like, just do it. Just do SEO. That's what we're all here to do. PBN, same thing. Do PBNs work? Sure they do, for a little bit till you get caught. And then all the effort that you put into it goes away. Why are you spending effort doing something that may only work in the short term? Unless you're a porn site or a gambling site, don't do it, because you're doing, especially if it's your company, don't put effort into something that goes away later and you lost all that effort. If you're doing it for a client, don't put something into effort for a client that's going to go away and all of the money that they spent on you was completely wasted. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, the key, I think, is making sure they know that they're in this for the long haul. I mean, you don't want to do these short-term things to get your business banned or anything like that. So focus on the long term. Exactly.
Yep. Nope. Completely agree. And all right. So
you're up next, my friend. And
what do you got?
We've got a bunch of questions in the Q&A here. You want to
let's start? Let's go into lightning round.
So Michael Partner, man, it's contagious. I'm catching it from you. Michael Parker said, 3 weeks ago, I moved the client's website from one hosting company to another. And 2 weeks ago, so a week later, I noticed that their keywords in the top 3 and the first page were decreasing, and website visitors from over 2,000 clicks a month went to 0.
Mm-hmm.
After looking into it, it seems Google delisted that client's website. The domain is not on Google.
Oh, yeah. I know where this is going. Keep
I
going.
re-indexed the domain with Search Console, and 2 days later, the client's website is now found again on Google, but not seeing any uptick in rankings, still losing keywords on page 1, and visitors still not showing up. Still have no idea why this happened, so I can make sure it doesn't happen again. But also, when will the rankings go back up and visitors back to the site? What can I do?
Okay. All right. Ooh. Usually, okay. Caveat. I used to work in the web hosting industry for about 20 years, I think, something like that.
Dude, you're old.
49 now. But you got to remember, I worked in the hosting industry, the gaming industry, and the SEO industry, all 3 at the same time. So I can still say I have 20 years experience in each.
Yeah.
Okay. When you're switching hosting companies, there's quite a few things you have to watch out for. Number one and it all depends on who you're switching to and what packages you're signing up for. Example, say you're switching to HostGator, okay? And you're going with the managed WordPress service. Usually in your migration time, you can also select, or they can just do it for you, to basically not allow Google to index the site while you're doing the transition. If you do that, and it doesn't get turned off, then yeah, you're not going to be listed. You're not going to be indexed.
Even if you tell Search Console to find the site. Exactly.
Right. So that's one thing. The next thing is that, again, and this could be usually, again, it depends on what you're doing with the host, but you check your robots.txt, make sure that is intact, make sure it's not disallow all. That's a biggie right there. The act of moving from one hosting provider to another hosting provider will not cause you to decline in ranking, even if you're on a shared environment where there's thousands of clients or websites. There used to be this myth that, if you're on this server with this bad neighborhood, that was going to impact your ranking, which is actually not very true, by the way. So, and Greg's bringing up a good point, right? Did you change any architecture? Is a URL change in the process? Also, if you're going from one platform to another platform, you're going to 301 redirect the entire site to a new host as well.
That's Chris. No. That's not Michael, though.
Oh yeah, no, that's okay. I got it. So anyway, there are a lot of it depends in this scenario, because there's a lot of information that's getting.
It depends.
Because there's a lot of different variables at play, basically. So there is no straight answer for this, but I would definitely talk to whoever, unless it's you, that is doing the actual move itself, and look at the different technical aspects and what could cause the de-index, basically. That's what I got. Tricia, what you got? Then we'll move on to you, Greg.
I think he said he was looking at Google Search Console. I would just look through there and double check anything. Make sure, let me see, there was the check, I think the Google Analytics, make sure when it changed that, I don't know if there was any, looks like you just changed hosting companies and you didn't really change the site. So that should not be a problem, but I would just go and double check and make sure when you go on there and use live in real time and make sure that you're actually getting clicks with your analytics.
You make sure it's on there. I've seen site migrations where they forget to put Google Analytics on the new site, and they're like, oh my God, we're not getting any traffic. And it's because, you don't have Google Analytics firing on the site.
Yeah, double check that.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, that's actually a really, really good point. about the analytics piece. We see that a lot, actually. Used to see it a lot, I should say, in websites. Clients come on board and it's like, well, actually, when we do audits, we see this actually all the time. Come to think of it, where people will just forget, to add it back, or the webmaster won't.
Michael, you just said thanks in the chat. If you don't mind, could you, as we kind of move on to the next one, I'm just curious, could you let us know, was it just a straight copy of the site, or did you change architecture and URLs? Just interested, because that could definitely be part of it, but I'm just interested to know in this scenario if that happened. Okay, straight copy.
Right. Yeah.
So it's probably what Ben said, where if it's a WordPress site, they probably in that migration process said don't index the site, and just that's still not turned on. Or like Ben said, it's something else technical with the back end. Your host should be able to help you figure that out.
Yeah.
If not, there's definitely a lot of different freelancers and agencies out there that you could get some consulting with that could swing in and help if this is kind of above your level of expertise.
And the last thing I would say is do a DNS check as well. There's a bunch of free tools for this. Do a DNS check. Make sure that all of the records look good. Because that actually can also block indexing as well, come to think of it. And with GoDaddy, you have to set up some of your domain settings manually. At least that's the way it used to be. They could have changed it by now, who knows? But yeah, so that could also be an issue too. So if Google has a hard time actually getting to you and understanding where you are, like, are you on the new server? Did you turn things off on the old server? So which one's broadcasting basically that the domain is actually hosted on a certain IP address, basically. And you might want to check that out too. Make sure the IP address is all correct as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of it depends. All right. So next question. Tricia, we're going to hand this one to you.
Stump the guest. We need a stump the guest question.
Yes.
Sound effect there too.
Is this on obtaining reviews?
You got it.
Okay. So question is obtaining reviews. Do handouts, postcards, or business cards work? Specific case is a tree service. And where should they link directly to the GBP review page or a website review landing page? So hold on, Greg. It depends.
There we go.
It depends.
So I like to make sure first off, they have a review strategy set up where they have email and or text them. They get it directly. So the first thing is to ask them in person to leave the review, and to give them a link directly to where they can just go on and leave that review when you're talking with them. You can even put it on like your invoice, a QR code or a link or something. Handouts, postcards, business cards. I typically don't put that review on there because those are more where you're trying to get clients. And I like to, once you've done the work, whatever it is, then you want to ask for the review. So that's typically why, unless there's some kind of handout that you give after the service, that you give them and say, if you have questions, blah, 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 by the way, leave a review and a link there. As far as having it linked directly to the review GBP review page or the website landing page, part of that, the reason I say depends is because it depends on where you're focusing on reviews. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket and then have something come up. So if you're have a service, your business is tree service, if all your competitors have another place that they're also getting reviews, wherever that is, I don't know, Andy's List, something like that, you want to have two different places. So when I send the emails out, it has two places where they can leave a review, Google and another one, whatever that is for your specific business. Also, sometimes people don't always have a Google Gmail account to leave that review. So you don't want to have one place and then that's it. And then you've lost that review because you didn't give them a second option.
Yeah. I mean, I got to admit, though, Mark is saying in the chat here, he's like, thinking of creating a separate review card, business card size, right? Mm-hmm. I would actually encourage doing something more along the lines of, on your business card, on the back, the QR code is a great idea. You don't no do short links or anything like that.
Yeah.
Or and under maybe, and in your case, because what Tricia said was brilliant, and that is that because it's a tree service, you might not want to just focus on Google Business Profile.
Yeah.
Angie's List, Yelp, these are all important places for you to have reviews. So why not make a review landing page? And then the QR code goes to the review landing page. And then underneath of that, just have the full URL for people who just like to type it in. Give people options, basically. So yes, it all comes down, I think, to strategy. Go for it.
Yes, definitely. And I will say I was at a business recently and I was so excited because I was getting my business information put on my car. And when I went in, I saw they had a review us on Google right there with the QR code.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's great. And I went to do it and it went to their profile and not to leave a review.
Oh.
And so I told them, I said, by the way, I found their link directly because they actually had a short name. I found where that link was. And I said, this is what you need to have in there for the QR code. They said this came directly from Google in a package.
Oh my God.
Of course.
So anyway,
yeah.
I did give them the link. So just FYI, if you get that, you might want to change and print out a new QR code for it.
So Mark just commented in chat that he does have a review landing page for the tree service.
Fantastic.
So yeah, 100%.
I like that idea for sure.
I always suggest to our clients, or actually we always just do it for our clients, unless they're, some of our clients have their own internal reputation team. So we're just kind of telling them what to do or consulting. It's always better to have the review landing page. Several reasons. Number one, it's not a natural review profile to have all your reviews on Google and no reviews everywhere else.
Yeah.
It's also, like Tricia said, people may not easily be able to leave a Google review. So you get a more natural looking profile if you have that review landing page and you offer several options and let people go where they're most comfortable or where they tend to leave reviews the most. You have a simple thank you message at the top. Thanks for doing business with us. Let us know how we did. Leave a review on, one of the following sites. Couple of cool things you can do there. If you go all Google reviews, then you just get all Google reviews. You don't get them anywhere else. This is a service-based business, so this won't apply. But if you're a brick and mortar, you want to pay attention to the reviews that you have on Yelp, even though Yelp is the devil and it sucks. Because until the Apple Maps review system is more adopted, all the reviews that show up on Apple Maps come from Yelp, not Google. So anybody that looks up directions on an iPhone using Apple Maps, they're going to see your Yelp review score. So that's something I always point out in conference presentations is you may have a couple of thousand reviews and a 4.8 score on Google. And then that potential customer looks up directions to your business on their iPhone and you've got a 1.5 star rating with 50 reviews on Yelp. Maybe they decide not to come see you anymore. So you have to pay attention to that. You can also do review sculpting. If you've got a whole crap ton of reviews on Google and you want to get more reviews on Angie's List or something else, bump Angie's List to the top of the list because whichever one's listed first is most likely the one you're going to get the most reviews on. The other really cool thing is if someone on your Google reviews leaves a review that includes keywords that you're trying to rank for, obviously one review is not going to matter. But if you get multiple reviews that mention those keywords, that will help you rank better for those keywords. But here's the kicker. Right. You can't tell them what to write because that's against all kinds of terms of services and rules and laws. But you can Jedi mind trick them. So instead of just having, hey, thanks for doing business with us, leave a review on one of these sites, put a message in there that's something like, hey, leave us a review. Let us know what the experience was like. If you're not sure what to write in your review, the best reviews leave specific tips or advice. Here are some questions that you can consider while you're writing your reviews. And then the first question right off the bat for our car dealer clients is, did you buy a new car or a used car? Because then they're thinking about that when they're writing their review and they're like, oh, I bought a used car from this Ford dealer and boom, we've got used car in there on almost every review for people that bought a used car and it works amazingly well. Yep. So that review landing page is killer. And then if you're even more advanced and you've got one of those types of businesses that we talked about earlier that has practitioner listings, or for us, car dealerships are allowed to have separate GBPs for the various departments, or if you're working with the client or you're in-house with a business that is allowed to have separate department GBPs, then on that reviews page, you don't just list, hey, here's reviews here, here, and here. It's like, if you'd like to leave a review on Google, then you can give them links to the various spots so they can put that review in the right place. So there's a lot of benefits to doing that review landing page.
Right on. And actually, you know what? Really quickly, Mark just posted the landing page he has. So I'm going to take a look at it real quick.
I want to see it too.
Yep. Oh, yeah. That is the way you do it, Mark.
Dude, that's exactly what I just said. He's doing everything that I just said.
Yeah. So yeah, Mark, you win is what it comes down to. So, yes.
I don't know. Let's check. I'm going to hit the Google review link and see if it goes to the profile or if it pops up the review thing. And it pops up the review thing. Awesome.
Yes.
Killing it, dude. Everybody check out that link that he just shared. That's exactly how you should be doing it.
That's right. And as a matter of fact, Mark, sorry, I'm going to use this in presentations, buddy. No, I'm serious, but this is really good. It's got what to write.
Oh, look at the scroll down. If you'd rather send us a testimonial, that's cool too. This is a killer page, man.
Yeah. Fantastic, dude. Fantastic. Kudos. Big time kudos. Oh, hold on. That's right. Mark's been sending this a different way.
I'm sending it privately.
Sorry, we're all getting excited and everybody's like, "Who?" Okay.
Yeah, everybody check that out. That is a absolutely killer. Watch, really, this was Mark knowing that was a killer page that we were all going to lose our minds over. So it was like a really sly way to eventually go, oh, well, guys, here's the link, knowing that we would go, this is amazing. And then everybody's like, oh, man, Mark's the man. Nice job, dude. I see what you're doing.
Well done. And also your clients in Flagstaff. So that's awesome. That's actually where I started my first business for internet shit back in the 90s. Anyway, all right. So cool. Next question. Let's see. This one's from Brittany Barks. Hi, Greg. So, Greg, this one's for you, buddy.
Hi, Brittany.
Actually, you helped me out in the Google Business Profile community thread. Thanks, Greg. But I have a follow-up question. I have a client that is a national law firm with 70 plus Google reviews. In the past 2 months, they have had multiple clients tell them that they left Google reviews, but the reviews never appear. Greg referenced the fact that the spam filter has gotten stricter, and I worry that because a lot of their clients don't go to their physical office in Pennsylvania, reviews could be filtered frequently. Common reason reviews are filtered. The reviewer is located nowhere near you or has never physically visited your location. By the way, good job, Brittany. That's absolutely true. Any advice for getting reviews?
She's copying that out of what I sent her, by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry. Absolutely. Good job, Greg.
Thanks.
So any advice for getting reviews for a local business that also services a national client base?
Right now, honestly, no advice. Because yes, Brittany, take credit for your awesome copy and paste skills.
Yes.
Right now, honestly, I don't have any advice because we get a lot of questions on the forum. If you go to the forum to post anything, you'll see there are a lot of questions right now about reviews missing, where there are some common reasons. That one that she listed is a common reason why the review won't go up. Also, if someone is leaving the review at your location using your Wi-Fi that you also are on the Wi-Fi managing your location, that can be a problem as well. There's a lot of different reasons, but because of all that, especially that reviewer has never been anywhere near your location or even into your state, as things stand right now, that's going to be difficult. Maybe I'm guessing Brittany's asking this because she knows that clients have left reviews. And clients have said, hey, I've left this review, but it's not showing, or they've said I've left the review and the firm is like, well, we don't see it. Maybe if nothing else, get the client to copy and paste what they wrote, and you can share it as a Google post on the profile to maybe highlight it or share it on social media or put it on your site as a testimonial. But in that case, most likely might be kind of hard to get those reviews to show up.
Yeah. And the only thing I'm going to add to this is come on, it's a law firm. So when we're looking at law firms, yes, national, we realize you do business that way. That's the business model. You don't have to actually come to the office. But if you have tons of satellite offices, the better experience for anybody who's reading those reviews is going to be reading reviews from people who have left them locally. So if you are in New York and I did business with you and and I'm going to leave it on your New York profile, I should be in New York or the surrounding area, basically, to leave that review. That's really kind of the only way you can look at it. Tricia, do you have any other advice?
No, this is something I've had come up from a lot of clients recently, and it can be frustrating. And Brittany's is a little bit different because those, seem to not be in the area, but the review filter has really kind of ramped up now from Google. And one thing is, if you're one that you actually got the email from Google, I know Ben has said this before, saying that the business got a review, keep that. And then that you can go to Google for help and try to get it that way. That improves your chances a little bit. And the other thing is I've had a couple where check and see if the user is a banned user, like if they've been making lots of edits on the map. They may not know that none of their reviews are showing up. So you can check. I've had some of mine filtered out recently where I went and I even included pictures, and I'll go and look at it in incognito mode and the review's not there. So, it's happening.
You can always try going to the forum. And if it's really a lot more helpful if you have screen captures of those reviews from the customer that left the review. And if you go create like a publicly open Google Doc and list out all the reviews that you're missing, like if you're missing 1 or 2 reviews, don't go through the effort. But if you're missing a significant number of reviews, you could compile a Google Doc and go post it on the forum, and maybe it would get escalated by a product expert, and maybe the GBP team would look at it, and maybe you'd get some of them, but it's kind of a hit or miss kind of thing. It
depends.
Yeah. Stephen asked if the GBP owner knows if they got a review and if it's blocked. They're not going to know that it's blocked. If they got a review, sometimes they'll know and sometimes they don't. Occasionally the email will get through to you and then it'll get taken down. Sometimes the email doesn't even go out.
That's correct.
So it depends.
One more time.
It depends.
Hey, we're almost out of time, but we got a good question from Kevin that I would like to give to you, Ben.
Yeah, we'll go for it.
How would we go about trying to remove a GMB/GBP listing that was set up by someone else? Mm-hmm. Someone created a listing for a smaller town under our company name with an address where we do not have a location at all. We cannot claim it, and made a permanently closed edit, but it has not seemed to work. Any other options?
So my first question is going to is why can't you claim it, Kevin?
Yeah.
My assumption, it's probably a service area based business. That's when most people say, well, I can't do anything with this. So basically, like we were kind of talking about earlier, what you could, there's a couple different ways you could take care of this, I guess, basically is the point. Some of them are harder than others. The easiest way is to just reach out to support. Tell them that you have a duplicate and that you want to merge. And for that to work, it would have to have some identifying information that's the same on your other Google business profile, which in this case, I'm assuming it would, right?
Well, it really wouldn't, though. The only thing that would be the same would be the name, because it's a different town and a different address and a
website
different
and phone. Website might be the same.
Yeah, if the website's the same.
Yep, exactly.
And if the website's the same,
how do we know the website's the same?
We don't, because we can't see
We're
it.
assuming.
Oh, gotcha.
If the website's the same, you should be able to claim it with an email with that website.
Yeah, exactly. So claim it, get it into your power, get it into your hands, then remove it from your dashboard, and then ask for a merge. or permanently close it from inside of your dashboard. That's really the best way to go. Yeah, they're both SABs. That's what I figured. Okay.
Yeah.
There is no claim option. So you have to create it in your Google Business Profile Manager. So make a new listing. Same name, same city. Okay, if you can. Usually same name is going to work, by the way. Same phone number or website, whatever the identifying information is. And then it'll cause it to become a duplicate. And then once it has become a duplicate, then you can go through the actual claiming process. Does not always go smooth. Usually doesn't. Usually you'll lose some hair. But that's the process. The secondary process is you can't see if it is claimed or not. And that is just to contact Google support and ask them basically to do either a removal or a merge and explain your case, right? These are human beings, the support operators. They might not understand English very well, but they are human beings. So ask them questions. But that's basically it. That's kind of a nutshell.
Yep.
Oh, it shows an address, but it's not yours. Yeah, that's fine. As long as some of the information is the same, like the name or the website or the phone, then you'll be fine. You can still get it done.
Yeah, you should be able to claim that.
Absolutely.
Like that.
Yep. All right. Well, it's 11 o'clock. Let's see. I'm just going to answer Kathleen. How you doing, Kathleen? I'm going to answer Kathleen really quick. She's asking, what value is there in adding extensive information in the GBP Services section? I'm going to throw that at you, actually. Tricia.
Oh, me? Yes.
Yeah.
In the GBP Services. So I wouldn't set up like extensive stuff. Don't spend all your time working there, but you definitely want to put some of your main things in there as services because, Google looks around in there when people are searching for certain things. If you've got that service, it may come up, but don't spend all your time working in that. The one thing you want to check is sometimes Google has been going in recently and adding all kinds of crazy things into it. I have a carpet cleaner and they keep putting in moving furniture because the site talks about, what you do for moving furniture for your carpet. So double check and take out all of the things that Google does. I've got that on my list for my clients every week. I'm checking, removing junk and making sure they're correct.
Yeah. But I will say this though, what's important about the services is that it's accurate, number one.
Yeah.
But number two, let's talk about really quickly, and then we're going to go where they show up. They show up on mobile.
Yeah.
They show up on desktop. I've seen examples where they do show up on desktop. They show up as what's called a justification as well. So there's all sorts of ways that Google is actually using this information. It's not going to help you rank.
Yeah.
It is going to give you better visibility though. So what I would say is extensive information for services that you provide. Fill out all the googly things. So if you can put in content, do it. Yeah. So anyway, that's it, everybody. We are wrapping up. This is another episode of the Local Marketing Institute on the books. So thank you all. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Greg and Colin will be here. I will be out at a retreat with my company, a virtual retreat. So we're doing all of that. And feel free, visit us at localmarketinginstitute.com. The replay will be there and on YouTube very shortly. Of course, we'll announce it on Facebook when it's done too. So that's it.
Thank you so much for having me. I've had a great time.
But don't forget to go submit your questions for next time. If we didn't get to your questions, go submit them. If you've got new questions, go submit them. Send us all the questions so we have cool stuff to talk about. And you feel awesome because your name gets shouted out in our podcast.
That's right. You got that. All right, everybody. Have a fantastic, wonderful weekend. Bye.